Joining us now in Studio B, nice enough to join us in person, is the man, BYU's all-time leading rusher, Harvey Unga.
Harvey Unga.
Welcome back to Studio B.
Harvey. I like Harvey. Harvey's better.
Carl Malone. Dude, look at this facial hair, man. What's going on?
I got lazy.
You got
What do you
lazy?
mean you got lazy? It looks good.
Thank you. I'll take that. I don't know. Something different, I guess.
Yeah, you got to
You're
mix
not,
it up,
you're not
right?
working for Brigham. You're fine.
Exactly,
All right.
exactly.
I feel like I'm always working for Brigham now.
Are you working for Brigham?
I feel like it.
You're working for the running backs recently, it sounded like.
I wouldn't say working.
With?
Helping.
Hanging.
Hanging out.
Verbs.
Playing. Sorry.
So Algie
back.
Brown and the homies said that you watched some film together and you gave them
Yes.
some advice?
Yeah.
When did this happen? What did you say?
Last week, Wednesday? Man, short-term memory loss.
Concussions. It's cool, man.
Yeah. Well, luckily I haven't had any. Well,
That you know of?
That you know,
That I
of,
know of.
that you know. of.
No, I met up with them Wednesday last week, and Algie had we were just shooting text messages and whatnot, and he was saying, hey, if you got some time, I'd love to watch some film, break some film down, and I didn't know what I could help him with, but it ended up turning into about an hour and a half long film session, and there was a lot of good things that we talked about. A lot of things that I felt he could work on. A lot of things that he had learned. And then going into the game, man, it was amazing because the things that we had talked about, during that film session, he was applying it to the field, and not just applying it, but he was killing it. With the things that we were talking about and going over and stuff. And so it was fun.
What were those things?
We went over, I guess, like his running style. Like, so I don't know if fans really care, but I was talking with Coach McBride.
They care about what you.
Well, okay, so
think.
so Coach McBride and I have a good relationship. Was talking with him last week, and we were talking about different running styles and running backs, things that good running backs do, and there was a couple things that I felt Algie could do that would help his running style. He's a hard runner, super hard runner. And he's a big back at that. But a lot of times when you have big backs, it's hard for us to move around as well as these little scat backs. But one of the tricks, and it's a simple, small trick that I talked to him about, was whenever he's running, even if he's running laterally, if he's taking a sweep or a pitch or something like that, if he can keep his shoulders going north and south and have his hips turning while he's running, that enables him to open up his cuts a lot easier than if he's turned completely sideways trying to make a cut, on a 90-degree angle, as opposed to if he's got his, shoulders square, he's able to turn his hips. It opens up his vision. So instead of seeing one direction when he's turned completely one way, he's able to see the whole field and have a good idea of where he's going to run. And there's a couple times he had his shoulders turned sideways, and he came back to the sideline. I was on the sideline a few times and was talking to him, and he's like, I get what you're saying. And it was cool to see something like that because he gets it. He knows it. And then when he goes out and does it, it works. And one of the last plays of the game, it was exactly what we had talked about. I told him, be patient on your runs because the team, they like to flow a lot. And a lot of times when you try to hit the gap hard on fast-flowing teams, you end up running into the defenders. So take your time. Keep your shoulders square and do yourself a favor and make easier cuts and have your vision. Because the game of football is pretty much, it's all your vision. Whatever you see is to your advantage. But when you take away that dimension, you don't see anything here. All you see is here. It's hard.
There was a moment when I was talking to Brian Logan during the game on Saturday night up on the BYUtv sports set where Algie kind of put a little shimmy shake into that move. And you mentioned he's a downhill runner, and Brian looked at me and he said, "Oh, that's him working with Harvey." I'm watching Harvey right now.
Nah, that's Algie. I won't take that. That's Algie. Algie's a skilled player, man. And people, they think he is a big back, but he can move. He and Francis, they're amazing runners. the God-given talent that they have, it's amazing to watch and see, and especially right now, just with Francis, him coming up, man, it's going to be awesome to see him run the ball some more. So, and I'm sure Markey's he's going to use Francis as well, and get him some more touches and get him into a rhythm. But I think Algie's he's turning what do you call it, a new leaf, whatever that phrase is.
Turning over a new leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, and he's been hurt, but now that he's healthier, he's been way more effective. Then there's Francis Bernard, who 2 games ago was a key cog in that win over UConn.
Yeah.
What's the story on Francis Bernard? Who is this guy? Where is he from, and how did BYU get him?
Young dude from Harriman, missionary guy, BYU. I think a lot of people overlooked him, to be honest. Because the kid, I remember there was a camp that I did with a couple NFL players back in like 2010, I think it was. And Francis it was up in Harriman. It was his team camp, and I remember watching him, and the kid was amazing. Like, compared to who he was going up against, he made everybody look dumb. Like the kid, but at the same time, when I saw him, he was like 190, 200 pounds. So I didn't know, what would come of it, but I just remember seeing him run, the way he was running his routes. He could catch the ball, and then just, the way that he could cut, and just all those intangibles. It was cool to see, but I think he was one of those that was under the radar and was a steal for BYU. And I think I don't know, personally, I feel like he and I were in the same boat. Not the most highly recruited players coming out of high school, but we are somewhat good at what we do.
You've got
You did okay.
Yeah.
You did all right.
Harvey Unga with us in Studio B, BYU's all-time leading rusher. We just broke down the running backs at length. Now let's switch over to the quarterback conversation and get to our Twitter question. With Tanner Mangum hobbled a little bit with that hamstring issue, Harvey, what do you expect from Tanner on Friday night against Cincinnati?
Limited plays. I think Tanner Magnum is just kidding. I'm kidding. No, I think he'll. I mean, if I was coaching, I'd obviously play day to day and see where he's at. But right now, I think I'd be giving a lot of the snaps to Bo. Letting him get comfortable with the offense, get into a rhythm, help him settle into the pocket a little bit more. You can tell with him being a young player. I don't know if he's trusting his arm right now. I know he trusts his legs because he can run, but I think if coach can help instill that in him and let him know hey you're a good quarterback, sit in the pocket, make your reads, then make something happen. I think it'd be good for us. But if Tanner feels like he's healthy, he's ready to play, I'm sure he's gonna play. So I hope he plays just because I love watching the kid play. But if it's a bad thing and it's a bad hamstring, I'd probably let him just chill out for a little bit, personally.
And that's part of the conversation is BYU has Wagner the next week.
Right.
They have a bye week and then another game. So there's a chance if you can just kind of get through this, you can sit out 2 full weeks, right?
But then you're playing the what-if game. And the what-if game, it's
game.
horrible. It's horrible because then you sit there and you do that and you're playing what-if and say he decides to scramble out of the pocket. And then it gets even worse than that. You know what I mean? Are you really wanting to risk, one game over the rest of the season? Because a torn hamstring, that's a long process to come back from.
It seems like it's pulled. No one asked the question yesterday. Is it a pull? It's not a tear. If it was a tear, he couldn't play. Right?
Yeah. No, I don't.
No way.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think he could play on a tear. I don't think anybody can play on a tear.
Yeah, forget about it.
Maybe Adrian Peterson, but yeah, I don't know. I just personally, I like I said, I hate the what if games.
Yeah.
So
and as a former running back, Max Hall, I think had a AC joint issue after Wyoming. No one knew it. Still completes, I think, 4th and 18 in that game. But with running backs, did you guys say, okay, we got to step it up a little bit to help him out? Is that part of the conversation?
Oh, for sure. for sure. I told, and we were talking about this, Algie and Francis and I, when we were watching film, I was telling them that in all the years that you watch BYU succeed, there has been a dominant running game. In the years that we were okay, the running game was almost it was non-existent. It was bad. So I think when you look at it, history doesn't lie. And I think with that, those guys really took into consideration, the things we were talking about. And like I said, they're great students of the game. They listen well, they understand the game. And not only that, but to watch them then apply it, to me, that just, solidifies exactly what I had thought into now what I know. So it's a good thing that they take the responsibility, and that they're really, trying to take the pressure off of Tanner, the wide receivers, the linemen. And so it'll be interesting to see how much more they develop, because that was only one session that we had, and for them to kind of make those kind of strides on just one session, man, it's cool to see, what else Marky's going to be teaching them and helping them out with and working with.
BYU at the halfway point of the regular season, 4-2, despite the injuries and the craziness, and it's been a roller coaster. What are your thoughts on the first 6 games of this 2015 BYU football season?
Obviously, I'd want to be 6-0, but 2 games. It's in the career that I had here, the most games we lost was 2, and we started out early on at like 4-2, or. Yeah, I mean, most of the games I think that we did lose was early on in the season. It was the first few games of the season, and then went on to have 11-2 seasons, which is not a bad season at all.
I take that every year, man. Every year.
It's not a bad season at all. So I think they're sitting really well right now. They've got, who is it? Cincinnati, Mizzou, and Utah State was the 3 that. When I was looking at the schedule, I think would be the toughest battle. So right now, I think they're doing just fine. And to have an 11-2 season at the end of the year, with the bowl game and all, I think that's an awesome year. That's a great year.
That would be crazy.
Yeah,
good.
That's a great year.
Yeah.
And the 2 losses, I mean, it.
Everyone's losing to Michigan.
Well, and that's the thing, if those 2 teams, continue to win and do well, it just helps us as well. It kind of gives us that little to know that, we didn't lose against bad teams. These are good teams that we lost against. So I think we're sitting just fine at 4-2. So
Harvey Unga with us in Studio B. Harvey, we don't have a lot of time, but I know you did say you wanted to say something about the Steve Sarkisian situation, and I had a message for him.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, I obviously I don't know you personally, but there's a lot of brothers that stand behind you. We love you, and when we talk about this band of brothers, it really is a band of brothers. I know there's been numerous people that have reached out to you, as far as my teammates, former teammates, your teammates, I'm sure. But we love you. The fans support you. We support you, and we wish you the best. And we're here for you. If there's anything any of the brothers can do, by all means, just let us know, and just want to send our love out to you.
Well said from Harvey Unga, BYU's all-time leading rusher. Great to have you in Studio B, Harvey.
Appreciate you guys. Harvey. Hey, thanks.